Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had a phenomenal holiday and Christmas season, and Happy New Year to all of you all over the world. So, as we kick off, boy, there's like so much to catch up on. What I want to do is just kind of start out with tips, tricks, and strategies to kick off the year, because that's what 2026 is going to be all about. Deep dives into really powerful strategies. And speaking of which, have some really exciting announcements at the end of the video here, too, that you're not going to want to miss, and you'll see why in just a few minutes. So as we take a look at this, so this is the Nasdaq daily futures, and basically we've been in a situation where you might get a rising trend on the champion cross, but overall the champion trend indicator is still really in a down phase right now. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. And what does that mean when you got rising support underneath you, but you got resistance above you? Well, you're going to get whipsaws back and forth, right? And so back over here, my strategy was, all right, there's room to grow kind of up to this area right over here. So if we get long side trading opportunities and signals off of this rise in support, we'll look for some movement. But once we get about halfway there, then the concern is that it may fizzle. And certainly by the time it gets up to here, we're worried about that fizzling until it goes back to green. So with all that being said, what happened was we kind of pulled back down here, try to make a half-hearted attempt back up, but there's something secret here, and I want to make sure people pay attention to these. Remember, inside of WealthCharts, we have that really powerful divergence indicator. It's faster and more powerful than any other one I've seen anywhere, and I've asked people to help me identify over the years if they've ever seen anything faster, and nobody's ever been able to show one that they have. So pay attention to how we went ahead and get to this. If you go up here to the Add Indicators button here inside of WealthCharts, under the Community Scripts, or you can go down here under More Exclusives, for instance. So Community, you've got the Divergence Tracker. You can add the Divergence Tracker. It also shows up here in the Editor Pick section of Divergence Tracker. So either way, you can add it through either one of those. A little tip there for you. I like to go ahead and add the cut through prices, cut through price potentials, show potentials, and then intra-bar updates. Okay, so and then you select all right or okay. So with that being said, what you're going to see is this right here. So this is kind of that little hidden gem. So we had this double Dutch resistance here and a negative divergence showing up from two different lengths of time here, a long-term one and a shorter-term one. So there are two convergences there. That's powerful, right? So you couldn't even get back up and test this, and we started to roll back over. A negative sign, looking at a lot of opportunity for further sell side. So just as a reminder, when we're underneath the champion cross and under the champion trend here, I love nothing more than to see further selling here. If we get back up here, I prefer to be looking for the long side trades. If the champion trend is red, the champion cross, I like to see it green and rising. Here you see it's kind of green but falling. So that makes a risk of exactly what you saw here on Friday, which was a pop up that it gets killed right back off. Okay, so in the end, I'd just like for this to come on down, be a little more sell side, and look for a sell side trade. That'd be the highest probability trade from my perspective. Okay, comparatively speaking. So with all that being said, I just kind of wanted to just show you where we're at. So the daily charts of the stock index futures, they're under a lot of pressure here, and kind of a double pressure. You got the pressure here, and now you got the double resistance here on top of it. And so that just basically are selling into this area. So we'll see what happens now with the news this weekend. Venezuela, see if that exacerbates things here or people breathe a sigh of relief, which can sometimes go and happen. So we'll see how the futures open up Sunday evening. But as we move on from this, if the day-to-day fluctuations are a little bit concerning for you, then don't forget you have the opportunity to go to things like the Wealth Scanner for swing trading. And with the Wealth Scanner, there's a whole bunch of things it does. We won't talk about all those tonight, but a little pro tip for you. There is one of the things with Wealth Scanner you can do is you can look at your favorite sectors and different categories here. So like here, this is the baskets of stocks, in this case NASDAQ 100. It's always a fan favorite of mine. And so you can see these things. Well, keep in mind, the wealth score itself is super awesome, but also combine that with seasonality statistically over many, many years and find out what should be happening at this time. Because if you can find up and coming scores, right, that also happen to have good percent gains seasonally speaking over the many years that it's tracking it, well, that's kind of a winner in itself. And that can lead to a lot of great opportunities. So you take all those wonderful strategies that we've shown you on an intraday basis, end of day basis, right? We love seeing all the buy signals pulling back into rising support, green here, and then starting to take back off again, right? And also, Lam Research was due for approximately 5% upstroke during this, seasonally speaking. Applied Materials, same kind of concept here. So and it's looking at a lot of data, pulling in a lot of data there because of all the seasonality and everything as well. But it's worth going ahead and checking that information out because you can see once again, we have the green, it pulls back into rising support, pushes back up. So you guys kind of get the point there. There's a lot of opportunity here to kind of combine seasonality with these high technical scores. So for you swing traders and for underlying equities and options, that can be a very powerful tool and to give you the best things to look for when you're looking for the buy side opportunities, the facts, things of that nature, the technicals, fundamentals, a bunch of different research categories. So you can play with that. I just want to kind of give you a little tip there. One other thing to keep in mind, and we have like the WSI indicator. Just keep this in mind, this scanner right here. So what you can do is, let's kind of set this up to a daily chart here for a moment. And of course, this could be used for day trading futures as well. But I just want to kind of show something for our swing traders for the moment, then we'll get back on the day trading side. So one of the key things to look at here, like I got a little filter called high WSI. So we're tracking the scores here, the strength index extremely up. And so what happens is when you can find these different types of categories, let me just add the symbol here. So with that symbol linking, and so we'll take a look at this. All right, so ROST, raw stores, you had bullish underlying trends here, as you can see, and high WSI scores, which then gives you kind of a recipe for further upside, right? Just take a look at each of these individually, kind of see it. So you'll see there's a background of bullishness, and then you'll notice that pulling back into that rise in support leads to fresh opportunities. So using the WSI scoring, whether it's on a swing trading basis for underlying equities and options, or it's going in and putting on a 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute chart, whatever your favorite time frames are, and looking for intraday trades. You can see the same kind of concept here. It's finding strength, finding pullbacks within the strength, and looking for those wonderful continuation opportunities. So I hope that gives you another little tool in there. That's called the WSI scanner there as well. Lots of neat tools in that. Just trying to give you guys a couple of tips. Now, speaking of tips, you'll recall back at the Wealth 365 Summit, I went in October. I went in and we talked to you about gold. Well, gold continued to take off at that time, right? We had a push up, we had a pullback. Guess what? To that rising support here, and then went back up and made a higher high. Made a higher high there, but did not necessarily do it from an indicator perspective. So kind of a negative divergence means it's due for a pullback. Well, when you start getting negative divergences and you start breaking down below some of those key support areas here, like below the champion cross or below the champion trend, if you start trying to go long here, you can be catching the falling knife. All right. So why do I share that with you? All right. A lot of people are trading gold, and that's awesome. I was sitting there talking at the last summit in October about how great gold was and everything that was happening with gold with the indicators, right? So far be it from me to say, oh, that's a bad idea to look at it. But here's the thing I want you to understand as well. So inside of WealthCharts, we also have that powerful wealth tracker feature, right, down at the bottom. And it gives you all sorts of incredible statistics. And by the way, you'll notice we've just added some new features where you can hide different things that you want to see or don't want to see. And we're also going to be giving you the ability to move all this around and kind of set it up the way you want to. But there's a whole bunch of metrics about what traders are trading, what they're trading most profitably, what they're trading the worst. And I know I'll often focus on the top performers and we'll go look at how they're trading and everything else. But let's take this from the opposite side here for a moment. And let's just take a look at the worst of the performers. So bottom performer there on charts on Friday had a loss of 16,877, right? And biggest gains were about 23, 22, 21. So kudos to you guys. But here, 16,877. So let's see if we can try to teach people something. Well, first of all, the thing I noticed is that primarily we're trading gold, holding for a long time with gold there. All right, let's just take a look and see what we can find out with this. So I'm going to go ahead and organize this. This is another really cool new feature. And what this does is it allows us to go ahead and take a look at the trades that people were taking. How cool is that, right? Wealth charts, wealth charts, wealth charts. So, but let's just take a look at these different tools. So, all right, so number one, this person who did the worst on the day went ahead and shorted right here and then covered right here. What's the first thing you notice here, gang? Well, I'm trying not to let you cheat too much, but you can it's kind of already given away when you look at the backdrop here. But now with that, let's and pull in some more data, okay? And now you can see it very clearly. We were in a beautiful uptrend, right? Champion trend, champion cross. We had breakout forecasters, continuation, range signals. So what happened was shorting this is basically a flat out counter trend trade. Okay, counter trend trade. And so they end up taking a loss here. Fortunately, it was a small loss. So kudos to them for taking a small loss. Shame on you for going ahead and doing the counter trend trade. You'll occasionally make some very impressive gains and then give it away over time. So let's take a look at the second most losing trade that they had. All right, now what do we notice here? Their second most losing trade, they went long. Sell, wealth signal, which is near the beginning of new trends to the downside. Breakout forecasters, which indicate that even after a pullback, statistically, we're expecting lower lows. And this person went long and then they sold the long here for a loss of almost a couple $1,000. Okay, counter trend trading. Okay, let's take a look at another one here. So here they exited a short here. Well, okay, so let's go back and see where they entered. Look at this. They entered another short in the midst of a rising trend up. Bullish, bullish, bullish in the backdrop, and entered a short. Didn't wait for it to go sell side. You'll see it never went sell side on the champion trend. You'll see we never got sell signals to the downside here. Shorted, okay? And then covered way up here. So that was a painful $2,360 loss, right? All right, let's take a look at the next one here. Well, so here we go. Another enter long and sell. Another flat out counter trend trade short, okay? And then let's look at this one. And what do you have here? Another catching the falling knife, flat out short, flat out long against the market, which was clearly short. Sell, everything. Classic wealth charts, champion trend pack indicators that come with wealth charts. And so what's a common theme you'll often see with the biggest losers? They're trading against these powerful tools. Okay, nothing is 100%, but these are some of the same tools I use and have used with the 35 times real money trading competitions around the world, right? And so trading against those things, you trade at your own peril. And so what was happening is just flat out counter trend trades. So hopefully you see a theme there, right? And so we can do this all day long, right? So we can look at the Nasdaq side of things, all right? So let's take a look here. Made a little bit of money with the Nasdaq, but then gave it all back and lost more. Well, let's see what they did. Well, okay, right away I can tell this ain't going to be good, right? Because we already see here the exit of the long. Well, look what they did. They went long right here against sell, A wealth signal, which means you're near the more of the beginning of a trend. Breakout forecasters, which means what, gang? Even after a pullback, we're expecting lower lows, right? So you can see what happened with all of this. Basically, in a nutshell, what happened was this counter trend long, okay, and then had to sell way down here for a $4,200 loss on one contract. He erased all the profits, okay, and so in the end, you can see this person, biggest loser, $16,800, and what's the theme? Counter trend trading. Okay, so occasionally you can make some change on counter trend, but in the end, the market's gonna come back for that and a lot more pound of flesh. Okay, so I hope that goes ahead and helps you understand how you can use some of these powerful tools in WealthCharts, whether it's the indicators, some cool scanners, etc., etc. But we'll show you how to do a lot more of this stuff. We'll do a much deeper dive into some of these different things, and I want to do a lot more trade analysis for you guys here. So we're only 2 weeks away now from the big January kickoff show, and it's going to be a big one. Super exciting. We've got some really neat things in store for you, doing some things that we've never done before, kind of like some of this analysis that I just showed you here a little bit ago, kind of seeing it for yourself and looking at the trades people are doing. So obviously anonymized, so you can't know, oh, the John Doe and Jane Doe did this and that, but you can see what the top people are doing, what the bottom people are doing to make you hopefully better. And to that point, I got a big announcement for you here. Not just the fact that the summit's coming in 2 weeks, but guess what? I'm super excited. Obviously, as you guys know, I've won a lot of real money trading competitions around the world, and that's wonderful. Okay, I love getting the awards. I love even more so going ahead and having my kids getting a picture with me, and then my son grabbing the trophy and running off stage to go and show it to the world. I mean, that's so awesome. But what? We just hit a new milestone. Looks like we hit a new all-time high in people that have made more than $5,000 in a day on WealthCharts. Hit a new all-time high ever since we've been tracking those numbers, and I am super excited to see that. And I want to give a big warm congratulations to so many of you that are doing so well. December, was a phenomenal month for you guys. It seems like people are really starting to use the tools, use the indicators, use the strategies, right? And we're going to work on more of that here at that Wealth 365 Summit as well, because it seemed like there was a big uptick on that since October when we did the October show. So I'm going to go ahead and be doing a lot more of that. It's going to be focused on all traders, not just prop traders, but regular, actual, real money futures traders. And then we're going to be doing more segments on the swing trading and options side this time as well. So this is going to be a really great, well-rounded summit, and it's going to focus on a lot of traders, whether you're a real money trader, a prop trader, and or a swing trader. So we got some big things lined up. We kind of changed up our lineup in some cases, in some ways, to accommodate and allow for this really exciting education, because we're seeing kind of the proof of the pudding and the results by looking at the sheer number of people that are going ahead and did so well here into November and then into December. I'm just super excited. So congratulations to all of you. I'm looking forward to taking that to a whole nother level here in just about 2 weeks. So if you guys go to wealth365.com/BBT, wealth365.com/BBT, just go there, sign up, and I will look forward to seeing you. I've got several special breakout sessions there, and we've kind of changed up our lineup there to help accommodate this, so you get a lot more of the education that counts, matters to you, and obviously has mattered to a lot of people since that October show. Just looking at the sheer number of people now, again, congratulations that hit that $5,000 a day milestone there, or $5,000 in a day on an account, and looking at those numbers being at what looks like these all-time highs now, I'm super pumped, and it shows that we're on the right track, and we're going to do it even more detailed, kind of like I just analyzed that trading a little bit ago for you. By analyzing what other people are doing, what the best are doing, what the worst are doing, I can make you better, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing. All right, so with that being said, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Again, Happy New Year to all of you, and I'll see you I'll see you in 2 short weeks at the big Wealth 365 Summit. All right, take care, gang. Again, you go to wealth365.com/BBT, and I'll see you in upcoming videos. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.